The White House is sending $9.4 billion in DOGE cuts in a package to Congress next week. This is a slight victory. For some reason, our congressmen and women initially did not want to codify these DOGE cuts into law. And I say this is a slight victory because I want you to pay attention to the number here. $9.4 billion. It feels like we are being kind of placated. I want to take you to the DOGE website. This is their official website. Estimated savings $175 billion. Yet we are only getting this small number of $9.4 billion in DOGE cuts that are being proposed to be codified into law. Now, this number right here, $175 billion, is a lot larger than the $9.4 billion. But even this number, when it comes right down to it, is nothing in the grand scheme of things. I mean, imagine what the military-industrial complex gets, what foreign aid pulls in, $9.4 billion in DOGE cuts. I think this is ridiculous, but it is a small win. It's at least some cuts, That's kind of how it goes. The taxpayers get the scraps. But the White House is expected to send a federal spending cut proposal to Congress next week. Two federal sources told Fox News it is the latest move by Republican officials to make good on promises to slash government spending. Okay. So cutting $10 billion is making good on promises. Okay. It's a very small start, but okay, whatever. A project spearheaded by President Donald Trump and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. And Elon Musk now has exited the administration. Unfortunately, he did a lot of good work in rooting out a lot of this waste, fraud, and abuse, even though all of his work now appears to be packaged up into a $9.4 billion present with a bow on it for the taxpayer. But what else did we expect? The proposal is called a rescissions package, a vehicle for the president to block funds that were already allocated by Congress in its yearly appropriations process. Once transmitted to Capitol Hill, lawmakers have 45 days to take it up before it's voided. So this is just being proposed to Congress. This is not even a surety that it will actually happen. And I would venture to say, I feel like this package is going to be whittled down in some way because that seems to always happen to these types of things. Whenever government tries to cut funding for itself, they always tend to just not cut their own funding for some reason. But an Office of Management and Budget official told Fox News the package is expected to total roughly $9.4 billion. It will primarily target federal funding to NPR, PBS, and the U.S. Agency for International Development, which I think is absolutely fantastic. These are left-wing propaganda networks. There's no reason for public funds to be funneled into these networks. They say that this is a free speech issue, that why is Donald Trump shutting these networks down? Well, he's not. They can operate by themselves just like any other company operates. They can pull a profit and then they could spew their nonsense to as many people as they want as long as the taxpayer is not funding it. But for some reason, they feel entitled to this government money. A third GOP source told Fox News that House GOP leaders had asked the White House to wait until their chamber finished their consideration of Trump's big, beautiful bill to send its spending cut package. The House passed the massive piece of tax and spending legislation last week after an all-night session of debate and procedural votes, sending it to the Senate for further consideration. That bill, which is being advanced under the budget reconciliation process, this means that the Senate doesn't have to have they don't have to have a 60-vote majority in the Senate. They can have a simple majority. This could happen, I believe it's once a year. They can do a budget reconciliation process, but there are some parameters that have to go in play in order to do that. But primarily deals with mandatory government funding that Congress must change by amending the law itself. So it has to do certain things, and this is why Congress is debating on this bill, what things to cut, what things to spend money on. But a rescission package targets discretionary government funding, which Congress sets the levels of every year in its annual appropriations process. The package is expected to get to Congress just as Musk is beginning to step away from his role leading DOGE, but is apparently still keeping a close eye on governmental affairs. The billionaire tech founder criticized Republicans' big, beautiful bill saying in a clip that he was disappointed by it. Yes, he went through all this work to root out this waste and fraud and corruption and abuse and all these other things, but yet our congressmen and women don't want to have anything to do with it. They act like it's not even there, even though like this is one thing that was very popular with the American people. We all know our government spends money on stuff that they shouldn't, and why should we care? Well, because it's our money. Why should we care? Because we live in the country of the United States of America, and we should care where these taxpayer dollars go. But it appears as if when you become a politician or a congressman or a senator or one of these things, you stop caring about that. All of a sudden, you just want the government to be bloated more. And when someone comes in and finds all of this waste, fraud, and abuse, you use it for the show, for your own political purpose, yet you never actually want to take action for what that person, namely here, Elon Musk, found and codify it into law to make sure this money isn't being wasted in the future. It's very interesting. This is how Republican congressmen, a lot of them, congressmen and women, are acting. They're acting like this never, ever happened. This was just, some show that happened that the American people enjoyed. Elon Musk up there with his chainsaw, and it was a fun thing while it lasted. But that's just it. It was just a show to them. House Speaker Mike Johnson vowed the House would do more to codify DOGE cuts in a statement after Musk's message. Quote, the House is eager and ready to act on DOGE's findings so we can deliver even more cuts to big government that President Trump wants and the American people demand. We will do that in two ways. Scraps, I tell you. When the White House sends its rescissions package to the House, we will act quickly by passing legislation to codify the cuts. Number two, the House will use the appropriations process to swiftly implement President Trump's 2026 budget. In the meantime, we have begun working around the clock as we prepare for those processes. The House made sure to build on DOGE's success within the one big, beautiful bill. Mike Johnson, I don't think I believe you, okay? I think you face some pressure from the American people and you realize that you had to give them something. You couldn't just do nothing. You had to give them something. So what are you giving them? $9.4 billion in this a massive bill, which is a drop in the bucket, nothing at all. Musk commentary, meanwhile, divided House Republicans on Wednesday. Quote, this is why Mr. Musk has no place in Congress. He wants to codify discretionary cuts. He didn't find enough waste, fraud, and abuse to fund the Small Business Administration, let alone reduce our debt. One House GOP lawmaker granted anonymity to speak freely told Fox News. This was a gimmick. He got used. He's now upset. Oh, was it? The only people I feel are treating it as a gimmick are our Republican congressmen and women. What are you doing to find waste, fraud, and abuse? No, you're hiding behind your office and pretending like it doesn't even exist and only talk about it when it's advantageous for you politically. That's what you're doing. But you never actually take any action. Elon Musk, you can argue about whether he did enough. Elon Musk, he took a lot of hits for what he did. People were literally burning down Tesla dealerships, vandalizing Teslas. His stock price dropped significantly over what he was doing. He was bringing people into these institutions, rooting out. So, I don't even know everything that he did, but, at least he was doing something. And did he have to? I don't know. He's a private citizen. I don't think he actually had to do this. I feel like he suffered a lot and his company suffered a lot because of the blowback from the left. But meanwhile, House Freedom Caucus Chairman Andy Harris, who voted present on the legislation last week, told Fox News that he believed Musk was right. Quote, I share Mr. Musk's concern about the short-term adverse effect of the federal deficit on the limited spending reductions in the BBB, the big, beautiful bill. Debt markets remain concerned about U.S. total debt and annual deficits, he said. The House is expected to begin working on fiscal year 2026 appropriations next week, though the rescission package deals with fiscal year 2025 funding. Additionally, the 45-day deadline for that is not the only marker on the horizon. Identical fiscal year 2026 spending bills must pass the House and Senate by the end of the current fiscal year on September the 30th to avert a partial government shutdown. And that government shutdown, everyone knows we got to avoid that at all costs. At all costs. Always comes down to the wire. there's always this big hubbub about a government shutdown. We got to avoid it at all costs. But, you know, I guess I'm a little bit perturbed here. Okay, guys, I'm a little bit pissed off. All of that from Elon Musk, all of those headlines, all this money and waste, fraud, and abuse that he's finding, hundreds of millions of dollars going God knows where. Not, did I say millions? Hundreds of billions of dollars going God knows where. And this $9.4 billion is the cuts that we get codified into law. And it's not even, this is just being considered. You know what? I would be insanely surprised if this actually happens. Even the $9.4 billion, I don't think is going to happen. We might get something, and then the Republicans will celebrate it as a success and go on Fox News and all these other news agencies, these talk shows, and talk about how much they are soldiering forward with cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse. They are carrying the torch for Elon Musk and DOGE. That's what we're going to see. Absolutely ridiculous. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is enough? Do you think $9.4 billion is enough in DOGE cuts? Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.